a fair assumption so far. I think we need Cloud9 to step up, don't we? Shiva, what do you think?
I think this is definitely the match that I was looking forward to most today as well, just like Waga. I think we're going to have an amazing game on our hand, or games, multiples. I think we're going to see all 3 games. And in the words of Draskell, he said, as long as Cloud9 plays Dota, Dota's not going to be boring. So I'm expecting big things from this series. And mostly I'm just hoping for, kind of also slightly biased perhaps, that Cloud9 is going to do really well.
Okay. I don't mind a little bit of bias on it. It's absolutely fine. I can stay neutral.
Oh, we can be biased on the panel.
Yeah, it's no problem. So, Malini, just to balance it up, you're with Vici, right?
I am with Vici, actually. Yeah. I think they match up very well versus Cloud9. Cloud9 traditionally a little bit greedier. Vici very good at 5-inning and ending games, as they're pretty high up there in terms of being able to push high ground. And Cloud9 has generally responded to that by trying to be as aggressive as Vici is early and met with really poor success. But I think this time they turned over a new leaf.
Okay. Generally, and this is a question to all of you, open for discussion, key player on each side. Who do you feel it is?
Fada on Cloud9, I say.
Who?
Fada on Cloud9.
Okay. I'm actually more for supports on C9. I think they're more consistent in general. But, yeah.
I think for C9 it's Misery. For Vici, I'm looking at How. Mostly. How has been... when I first started casting Dota, I at some point casted the TI2 group stages, and I followed Tong Fu. And Tong Fu had How playing in it, and he was a mid-player at that point, and he played loads of Queen of Pain. Luckily, he's been playing that again this tournament. And I just became a fan. I can't help it. So I'm looking for him as a carry. He transitions so well into being a carry, farming, but also being super aggressive, because he never really let go of that mid mentality that he needs to be active in the game, and I just love to watch him play.
How is a monster, and he showed that TI4 if nothing else, so I definitely respect him as probably the strongest player on Vici.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you think is the most inconsistent player that you're looking for a consistent performance from?
That's probably on C9 side. If you're asking me. It's hard to say. Like, Eternal Envy goes for the big plays, and sometimes that can fail very hard, but it also can give huge payoffs. So I guess that's inconsistent in a way, but it can be worth it. You don't always have to be consistent if it's that good when it pays off.
I would mostly say Bone7 perhaps. Not because, I mean, he is slightly inconsistent, but I compare him then to Ice Ice Ice, and Ice 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 is just way more consistent than Bone7 if you compare the two. Not that Bone7 is always inconsistent, it's just comparing the two, Ice 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 takes the cake for me.
It's hard to compare players from team to team, I feel, because they also have different roles, and, Bone7 is the guy that's going to have to find openings, or they put a lot of pressure on him because both Fada and MV are quite greedy. And he doesn't get the space to be greedy. He has to make something happen with very little. Whereas Ice 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 has more space, in my opinion. He's been given more space by his team.
Okay, we are down to 30 seconds before the draft starts for the first game. Nerves are obviously jangling in that booth. And your nerves are now going to be jangling because I'm going to put you on the spot. Predictions very quickly. Malini?
2-0 Vici.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to go with my head says Vici 2-1. My heart says Cloud9 2-1. So I'm going to go with my heart, 2-1.
Okay.
I have exactly the same feeling, but I'm going to go with my head. I believe Vici.
My heart says Cloud9 2-1, and my head says nothing.
Come on.
Okay, draft time for game one. Cloud9 versus Vici Gaming. Everyone, hold on to your seats seriously for this one, because I've got a feeling this could be an absolutely monstrous game on a roller coaster we haven't seen yet at the International.
Priorities are going to change. I don't think Bounty Hunter will be let through any game in this series. I think Wisp will be high contention, and I actually think Broodmother is going to slip by at least one of these games, because both of these teams love Broodmother.
Yeah, that's a full possibility, and I think Wisp is high priority, as you said, but I'm not sure if Vici are 100% about banning it, as C9 just came down from winner bracket, losing when they played Wisp. So there's a possibility they will try letting them play it and bait out the same type of contest against it.
Yes, but CDEC had a full, 3 days to prepare against Cloud9, whereas Vici has only had 1 day, and I think that makes a big difference. And as we saw, eHome was super prepared versus Team Secret. The few days of difference is a lot of time in preparation.
It definitely is. It makes a huge difference for a team. So far, Bounty Hunter and Undying be the bans from Cloud9, and Leshrac, Naga Siren banned out by Vici. So Gyrocopter and Queen both going through. I think Queen probably going to get first pick, but it is C9, and they do love Gyro really much.
I really don't think Gyro is their hero, though. I watch Cloud9 play Gyro a lot, and I feel like they don't use the hero as as good as well as the other teams do. They're not aggressive enough with it. I really want Cloud9 to go back to what they used to play, which is I'd really like to see. Well, they went for the Gyro again. I hope they use it differently this time around. And they play.
Wow.
They need to try to play more aggressive than what we saw.
Well, Cloud9 also typically likes to leave the options over for later for Fada, so Beastmaster and Dragonite perhaps are options for Fada later on. So I'm kind of happy that they picked up Gyrocopter fairly early, if they wanted to go for that type of carry anyway, so that Fada can have the hero of his choice later on.
If you're Bone 7, you're intimidated. They picked those two heroes so quickly that, I mean, you saw him, he had like his huge binder as he was walking out. I wonder what's in there, but when a team picks Clockwork and Lina that quickly, you know that they knew.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't expect anything else than a Gyrocopter first pick there, I think. So now Cloud9 are a little bit thrown off. And
usually they would go for Wisp here. They're probably really hesitant about it, though, because of the Lina.
That's definitely a thing, as you said as well. When you pick really quickly, you put the enemy team on the spot. It's like, okay, what are we going up against? Most likely your brain is going to tell you it's a pocket strat. They have prepared 5 heroes in particular they want against us because they picked that quickly.
Yeah.
But they're going to go for the Wisp again. It is a nice way to activate and get the Gyrocopter ganking. I have seen games where C9 played really beautiful active ganking Gyrocopter, but that was with a Beastmaster, not the DK mid. That's when it really came online the most.
Bone 7's just wondering if this is a trap, though.
If you're Cloud9 right now, you're going to look at the ban, see if that gives anything away, because, as you said, I mean, they're probably expecting something, and, I mean, from our point of view, it's just Clockwork and Alina, you know, it can be anything.
Yeah. So far, it's very standard as well. It's just Leshrac and Naga being banned out. Yeah. So the second phase is when VT really are showing their colors. So getting rid of the Winter Wyvern, good counter to Wisp, as we saw earlier, can definitely lead to Gyrocopter team killing. Nice to get rid of that.
Yeah, they're taking their time, not as prompt with their bans in this in the second ban phase here as they were with the picks.
Yeah, I think so far, I mean, we talked about how Vici hasn't had, 3 days to prepare or anything, but so far the draft is pretty predictable for C9. If you're just to think about it, what 2 heroes will they pick if we leave Gyro and Wisp? Like, it's probably going to be those 2 heroes. Most of the times, C9 will take that.
I'd like to. I'm watching those drafts, and I'd like to see a Venomancer from C9. They play core Veno on Fada, and I think it can be quite effective versus the way Vici plays, especially when you have a Wisp lineup, because you're going to delay them from, like, their push is going to be delayed by a lot, and if you actually force the issue and try to dive the Venomancer and, like, couple, maybe even 3 heroes get hit by Veno's ulti, and then Wisp relocate into that could be really, really hard to fight into. I think it's like they have so many picks they haven't tried yet or haven't used.
Yeah,
I'd really like to see those.
They only played like 1 game of Venomancer in the entire group stage. It did work for them, I think. I can't recall. Either way, it did a lot of work in the game. Can't recall if they won it, but Fada does love to play that. And he plays it pretty suicidal. We'll get his Blink Dagger at some point and just jump in, get ulti on everyone, which makes it quite easy for Gyro.
He really is a space maker. He's the type of mid hero that farms a lot, but he creates space with the way he farms. He's not going to farm your jungle or the steal farm from Envy, the safe farm. He's just going to push it to the limits, push out the lanes, be out of position a bit, but just be ready to go back because he has good map awareness. He's that type of mid-oriented farmer, so
he's pretty selfless in the way he plays, and that's why I think it was a smart ban by Vici to get rid of Beastmaster, because as you say, map awareness. When he has the Hawks up, he micros them really well, and it's so hard to gank anyone on C9.
And they have a 100% win rate with him as well, so far in the international. So picked it 3 times for Fada, 3 times a win. Good smart ban. They just profit the last ban, very unusual.
I think Cloud9 should brood at this point. There's no Darkseer because there's Clockwork already taken by Vici Gaming. And I think it's very common for people to pressure a lot with Brood so that Io can get his level 6. And they actually don't really have any good Brood counters. Storm Spirit, I think, is actually one of the better safe laners versus them, but aside from that, there aren't that many left.
Yeah,
maybe.
It could really abuse the Rubik as well. Like, he's not a very good support against Broodmother early on. He can definitely get chased down by the spiders. I think it's in their mind already, because when it's not banned in the second phase, every team is going to think about it, like, can we get away with this? And for VT Gaming, it's not as strong, so maybe
they can just wait
for second.
Fourth.
Yeah, exactly, as a 4th pick.
Well, they've been going for the Rubik a lot. There's no surprise there.
Shadow Fiend.
Oh my god, the instant picks from VT again.
Yep. They are prepared, and that's also confirmed in Alina for Super. So excited to see that for him. He's a very defensive mid player, I find sometimes, but on Alina he is anything but defensive.
Yeah, and this is also finalizing. We have the Clockwork, the AA. You can definitely see where this is going. Clockwork hooks in, AA sends ulti. You have the Lina, who brings a lot of his damage really quickly in a burst. And Rubik is pretty much just a popular Eastern support hero. He has been played a lot by any of the Chinese teams. I think this is a really solid draft so far. Curious to what carry they want. Maybe that is situational in the game, though.
To me, the only weakness of Vichi's draft right now is that they lack physical damage, like incredibly. They
How about
have
Luna,
almost only magical damage. I'd say Luna is mostly magical as well, at least until she gets like Butterfly and items like this, and then sure, but I feel like, you know, both Gyro and SF are BKB carriers, like they're gonna get it quite early, and the 4 heroes Vici have right now, they don't really deal well with the BKBs. Sure, when Lina gets act and everything, but if you shut down the Lina a bit, my point is that Vici's last hero is gonna have to be very, very good at dealing physical damage, else there is a big window for Cloud9 to actually take objectives.
I'll try and summon a hero that hasn't been picked a lot then. Let's just imagine a Void pick for Vici Gaming.
Yeah.
It could work really well into your lineup. And
really could. And it's gonna
your description.
Exactly, and it's gonna turn this magical damage into, like, you know, potential damage, because obviously when you're chronoed you can't use your BKB, so all those heroes become relevant. It would be a really good pick, actually.
What do you make of this draft so far, Merlini?
I mean, on Vici's side, they have all ultis that are like pretty low cooldown. I think that Faceless Void would be pretty good, and I like it a lot, but I mean, they tend more towards the safer carries, right? For the Phantom Lancer, for the Ember Spirit, for the Anti-Mage that we've seen so often.
Yeah. Pogna Bang incoming, probably, from Vici.
I just want to say that I really like the fact that Cloud9 just stick to their guns. I think, again, they lost twice yesterday with it, but I still think it's the right way, like it's the right approach